You cannot trigger someone who can see the triggers coming. You can't. I'm like really not triggerable these days. I'm like, whoa. You can use that empathy. You can use that empathic ability to know who's coming to trigger you. You know, like if it's a family member that's constantly triggering you, you are the one who's responsible for, what's the best way to describe this? So imagine you have a light switch in your house that when it flicks, like an air raid siren goes off in your house. Like imagine you have that. And so, every once in a while, a guest, like flicks that switch and scares everybody to death. Or your little kids are like, ooh, I'm going to flick that switch, and scares everybody to death. If you have a switch like that in your body, in your aura, in your emotions, then you are the person who's responsible for removing that switch. Does that make sense, you guys? If you have a trigger, you know what your fucking trigger is, then don't allow people to flick it. Just don't even allow them to flick it. Just be like, okay, cool. Yes, that used to be a trigger for me. And now the people who love to play with that switch are actively removed from my life. If I tell them once, hey, don't flick that, and they go ahead and flick it, then consequences. Yeah. So part of taking charge of the situation is setting consequences with people who do the thing that is a trigger to you, that really wears on your empathic ability. So I would say, just don't do it. Don't allow people to flick your switch. One of the things that I say is you can always spot a bulldozer coming. Like they move that slow, and they have all the bells and whistles. They've got that beep, beep, beep noise. So if you get flattened by a bulldozer, it's you that got flattened by the bulldozer. But that said, you have to become conscious enough. Do you know what I mean? Like I have so much empathy for people who keep getting flattened. I really do. And I would say that a good part of working with me, like it may even be like the first 3 months that we work together, that, those switches become more obvious and more obvious and more obvious. And then we develop really great strategies for dealing with the triggers.